Ublalotok. Good afternoon. Is anyone hungry? All right, that's good. We've been smoking and getting ready for some barbecue that will follow our presentation. We have our presentation for this hour. We're looking forward to having the tour of our Iḻisaġvik campus, and we're excited to host you for dinner after that. So good afternoon. As Nagrik shared, my name is Justina Wilhelm, and I have the great opportunity to serve as Iḻisaġvik College's president. I have been with Iḻisaġvik for 5 years and 2 years in the capacity as president. For those who may not know about Iḻisaġvik is Alaska's only tribal college. There's about 35 other tribal colleges and universities across the United States. And we are glad to be unapologetically Iñupiaq. We are a direct outgrowth of the North Slope Borough, who you're aware is a local home rule government. So we embed our Iñupiaq culture, and all we do is through our mission and through something that's been started since 2017 is being unapologetically Iñupiaq. And that being a tribal college, we value our land, our community, our culture, and our language. And as our mission shows that we strive to provide quality post-secondary academic and career and technical education to our North Slope, not only through the North Slope, but through as well as across the US. I've signed acceptance letters for this semester, all the way from Hawaii to Montana. So our outreach is far and wide, thankful to our technology and the ability to provide the distance education. So I will be facilitating and co-facilitating with our Associate Professor of Biology and Chemistry, Dr. Linda Nicholas Figueroa. She has been with the college for over a decade. Our institution has grown immensely through her academic leadership. Linda's provided so much advocacy and research that supports our students. And I believe everybody received the bios, but some things that really stand out about Linda that I want to share is that she's provided numerous grant opportunities that support science in the Arctic, nearing $1 million. And she has mentored over 19 students, specifically since 2015. And she has directed over 17 summer camps since her time at the college. And we really value the pre-college programming and growing our students that we'll be speaking to a little more regarding our dual credit programming as well. And 8 of her students has presented their work through science reports and various regional and national conferences. So I am so thankful that we have Linda on our staff. So clean up with Linda. Yeah. We also have some panels, or on our panel, we have our Iḻisaġvik students as well as students who have moved on and continued their educational journey, and they're in different pathways. Them share a little bit about themselves and present. They have provided a presentation that we will be going through regarding their specific educational journey as well. So I will give the floor to Dr. Nicholas Figueroa, who will be starting us off.
How's everybody today? Real quick, my doctorate degree is in science education. So I surround myself with all these great researchers in the room. I've worked with many of you, and I can't really see real good, but if I have worked with you, could you either stand or raise your hand, or UIC as well? Get some, see, and back there. Great, thank you. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, I've been able to work with researchers on Slope since 2011 when I ran my first STEM camp. And as Justina said, I've been running camp service since then. So I always bring in researchers, and I also bring in elders to the class as well, because they're experts on the subject that I am not. With that, I'll just go into the presentation. Currently, I'm working on two main research activities. The first one is snow chemistry, research in a pond, which is falling snow. This is in collaboration with the University of Michigan, Dr. Carrie Pratt, who is a snow chemist, an atmospheric chemist, and Dr. Ginger Schultz, who's a chemical educator. So what project is, it's a class that students that really wanted to be more involved in it. So they're getting paid for doing snow chemistry at the college. And the courses that we offer this in is basic chemistry, a climate change course, and our indigenous science course. The major activity that Arctic Micro Project. This one started out with the University of Alaska Fairbanks BLAST program, which is biomedical learning and student training. So we wanted to look at microbes as climate warms and see if there's going to be any diversity and new microbes coming in. They could be beneficial, they could be pathogenic or disease causing. And even though this was a National Institute of Health grant, it ties into health. It ties into environmental health. It ties into the health of the animals and the diet of the community. And then from there, I was able to get a National Science Foundation Tribal College and University program, a grant, and I just was awarded with that program as well. And I offer that also in my indigenous science and microbiology courses. So a little bit about research in a pond. Again, it's a culturally responsive chemistry research unit for college students in Arctic Alaska. And our focus is on drawing on local researchers such as faculty at the tribal college, or traditional researchers such as hunters and elders, and the scientific community. Some of the main points that we're looking at is we have three main sections: information gathering, collecting snow, and analyzing data, and communicating the results to the community. So we bring in elders. The students listen to the elder stories. They go out and interview community members, so they get they have a project and they get more information about what they want to do for their project. And then they also present their project to the community. Just an example of what the students have been doing for this project is we had one student who was interested in caribou migration, Iḷisaġvik. So after the elder talked about the caribou that dig through layers of snow to find water, she was able to connect that with her own personal experiences with hunting. So what she was looking at is what are the differences in chloride concentrations based on proximity to caribou herds and snow depth. So again, we tie it into the local community and what the students are interested in. And this is just the scientific data that one of our students collected. And I will turn it back over to Justina real quick from here.
All right, thank you, Linda. So before our students get further into their specific slides for their presentations, I would like to take this time to have our students introduce themselves, maybe what their current status is in their schooling, and a brief introduction. And I believe we have Daphne who is online.
Yeah.
And if she is, we could go ahead and start with Daphne.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Hello, my name is Daphne Mueller. I'm an undergraduate student at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. I have one more semester left. I'm graduating this fall. I currently have an internship with Fish and Game here in Fairbanks. Unfortunately, I couldn't be in Barrow. I'm recovering from COVID, but I'm still very happy and honored to be part of this panel and to help celebrate the 75th anniversary of NARL.
Hi, I'm Garrett. I am starting my fourth year, my senior year at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. and I am expected to graduate in the spring.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Anna Stringer, and I'm currently a college intern at the Northville Department of Wildlife Management. I just graduated this May from Vanderbilt University with my bachelor's in environmental science, and this fall I'll be going to the University of Washington to pursue marine affairs.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kimberly Kivok-Pekulk. I'm from here. I graduated from the University of Alaska Fairbanks with my Bachelor's of Science in May 2021 with my degree in wildlife biology. And now I am a graduate student at UAF in the Interdisciplinary Studies program. And I am a graduate student researcher for the Alaska Arctic Observatory and Knowledge Hub.
Sorry about that. Hi, my name is Emily Weech, and I'm actually currently Linda's intern over at Iḻisaġvik. I just finished up my liberal arts degree, and I hope to continue my studies at UAF. I'm also a part of our microbial studies on the tundra. So we're currently culturing in the lab. So I spend most of my time in the lab. It's so great being here. Thank you all.
And what we found was the soil is very diverse. We found a very range of microbes, and we decided to pull a couple out that were mine and Daphne's favorite. So Sithoniobacter flavus, which was Daphne's favorite, it's shown in the blue bar, both in the organic and topsoil and permafrost layer. So it was found within all three of those layers. And it contributes to the release of CO2 from the soil. And then my favorite was Mycobacterium simulans, which is the green bar. And it was only found in the permafrost layer. The most abundant thing we found in the permafrost layer. So pretty exciting. And this one is in the same family as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It can cause pulmonary disease, but that's not something we were looking into. Next slide, please.
You could move to the next, please.
So with Daphne and I's research through Iḻisaġvik and the grant, we were able to present our research. So one on the left is the one we presented titled Arctic Microbes Population Changes Due to a Warming Temperature. And we were able to go, me and Daphne, with other lab member, Samantha Wade, the American Society of Microbiology in San Francisco. And this was back in June of 2019. And at that conference, it was, I think, all three of ours first made conference. It was a national conference. And there were people from all over the world. We got to talk to people doing microbiology work throughout the world. And it was very fun and cool. And to this day, it's, I think, both I's favorite conference we have attended. And then in 2020, when the started happening, both Daphne and I were part of BLAST. As Linda mentioned, it's the Biomedical Learning and Student Training Program at UAF. And we were able to present at the Diversity Consortium Program Virtual Symposium. And we were able to use that same poster for the One Health Conference in 2021. And this is a screenshot just of the Zoom thing we were doing with it. And then this poster is just an updated, we had gotten more updated results. So that's what we and then in the spring of 2021, Daphne and I were invited to chemistry seminar that was being taught at UAF with the PowerPoint, kind of summing up our processes with what we were doing and sharing that with classmen at UAF, which was a great experience, being able to share our techniques and everything with our peers and people we look up to. Some of our professors were there. So that was really fun.
Thanks, Garrett. And I just wanted to check if we were able to get back to the Zoom. Anything to share?
Hi, I can't see the slides. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the next few slides were mine, but I can't see them.
The one that's up now is projects at the University of Alaska Fairbanks.
Oh, okay, that was, yes, that one was one of mine. So I have, through BLAST, I was able to be part of several different projects. My freshman year, I was part of a cell culture lab. My sophomore year, right before COVID hit, I was temporarily part of a dendrology tree lab. And in the fall of 2020, I joined a fish genetics lab, which I have been part of ever since then. I've presented at the American Fisheries Society, the Alaska chapter. Last spring, I did an oral presentation. That's the really tiny picture there with some fish. And then the blown up poster that should be on the slide, I presented my senior thesis, where I'm looking at microbial communities in the Chena River. And I presented that at the Midnight Sun Science Symposium, which is run and led by UAF graduate biology students. And that was a really cool conference to go to.
Daphne, and I believe if you can go to the next slide, we still don't have control. All right. Daphne, we're on your slide, your future plans. Anything else you want to add about your next, your attendance or any other information?
I don't plan on attending graduate school as soon as after I graduate. I want to gain experience of research outside of academia. So I want to look for work there, and then later on attend graduate school, probably for microbiology. I wanted to gain a wide experience of different areas of science throughout my time at UAF, but I just really enjoy learning and researching microbes.
Thank you. And we are partners and with internships and other opportunities. So for any of those in the audience who are interested to share their information or potential collaborations, please be in touch with Dr. Linda. Right, that takes us to the next slide. Is this the one? Okay, there.
So this is kind of the things that I've gone through throughout my 3 years at the university so far. The very first conference I've been to was the American Association for the Advancement of Science, or AAAS. Although I didn't present, it gave me a look into what conferences are like and what it's like to present. I was able to watch people be on a panel and watch people do poster presentations, and it was a really great experience. And that was in Washington. Most recently, I was on a project called Fresh Eyes on Ice. It's a community-based research project, and they're looking at ice coverage and breakup on bodies of water throughout Alaska. And there's a Facebook group that just community members are posting to on rivers and lakes that they live by, and just telling us like what's kind of going on that they've seen, at what time like breakup is happening or time ice is forming. So that was pretty fun to look at that. And then my spring semester of my freshman year, friends capstone project, and they're looking at trails at Creamer's Field, and they're looking at the trail use, whether it was cross-country skiing or a motor vehicle or dog sledding or walking or running. And just seeing what kind of people were using and utilizing the trails and what kind of wildlife were also coming by. And then I was also able to attend a MinION workshop. MinION is a DNA library, or you put DNA libraries into it and it tells you kind of like what you just put into it. And so that was a future. I went there during my senior year of high school, and for the future plans that we end up being able to use it in Linda's lab. And I'm currently in the Climate Scholars program at UAF, where I'm more looking towards more climate change based research and classes. And actually next week on Monday, I'm going on an intensive as part of this program, and as is Daphne, and we're going to be doing more soil work and looking at soil at I think Poker Creek research area, and maybe Bonanza Creek in and around Fairbanks. And yeah, and that's currently what I'm doing.
Thank you, Garrett. I believe this takes, oh, look up to Garrett, you got me. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm expected to graduate in the spring of 23, so this upcoming spring. And then I'm looking into master's programs in microbiology. I really like soil and stereotypical playing in the dirt. It's something I enjoy. So yeah.
Great. All right, well, that brings us to Anna Stringer.
Hi, everyone. So I'll be sharing how my experiences at Iḻisaġvik College and the North Slope Borough Department of Wildlife Management have really shaped and guided my academic and career aspirations. We already did introductions, but I'll just share a little bit about me. My family's Tongan and moved to Iḻisaġvik in 2013, and I went to school and graduated from Barrow High School in 2018 with my associate. I was lucky enough to join Dr. Linda's lab looking at Arctic microbes, and we were able to write and publish a report in the Native Science Report, which won first prize, which was my introduction to scientific writing and research. And after that, I went to Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, and just recently graduated in May of 2020 with my bachelor's in environmental science and environmental sociology. And while I was there, I completed a senior honors thesis doing research under the NSF Navigating a New Arctic Project, quantifying extreme wind events up to 2100 across the circumpolar region. But as throughout my undergraduate career, I've always tried to seek out opportunities and research that looked at the marine and coastal space. And through my internship at the North Slope Borough Department of Wildlife Management, I heard about CAF, which is a working group under the Arctic Council, the Conservation of Arctic Flora and Fauna group, where I was a youth advisor, and we worked together to create a youth advisory strategy on how to engage youth from across the circumpolar Arctic for the next 5 years in conservation work. And then through there, I heard about the Polar Institute, Wilson Center, and last year I completed an internship there as well. So I've always tried to keep marine space and Arctic in my mind when I go throughout my academic and personal endeavors. And this fall, I'll be attending the University of Washington, going through the same program that our department's Deputy Director, Nicole Kenny-Urick, went through as well, getting my master's in marine affairs this fall. Next slide. Okay. I was able to graduate Iḻisaġvik College with my associates in 2018. And I have a picture of our graduation picture there in 2018. And I really do credit my successes in college and being able to graduate, and at Vanderbilt University being so far away from home, from having such a in-depth background in college courses, college writing, but especially working in Dr. Linda's lab and being exposed to research and scientific writing and timelines and how that process goes. That was definitely really beneficial for me, graduating from Barrow High School and going to such a large university that was so far away from home. But I definitely felt more than prepared because of the experience at Iḻisaġvik and being able to, you know, for my humanities classes, take local classes like skin sewing classes instead of taking a humanities class, Russian classics. So I definitely experienced there, and definitely prepared me for slide. Yeah, so next I'll be talking a little bit about my internship with the North Slope Borough Department of Wildlife Management. And there are a few amazing folks in the audience right now from the department that came today. And you might have already heard in discussions throughout this week what the North Slope Borough Department of Wildlife Management is, but I'll just share that the North Slope Borough Department of Wildlife Management wildlife species through scientific research, indigenous ecological knowledge, leadership, and advocacy from local all the way up to international levels. And so the department's really unique because it's a department underneath a municipal government that promotes and facilitates locally driven research and long-lasting relationships with subsistence users in our region. And you have our director, deputy director, wildlife biologist, subsistence research specialists, and many other people all in dialogue over our region, how to manage our marine resources and subsistence resources. And they offer internships every summer for local youth. And so Kim and I have been an intern at the department for a few years now. And for me, it was really impactful working for wildlife management because when you're an undergraduate student still trying to carve out what your interests are, it was very inspiring for me to see that this research and co-management policy structure exists. And so I did a few pictures on the slide of some things that interns are able to do throughout the summer. So we're exposed to research in the field, outreach, and we have the opportunity to also sit in on meetings like variety of co-management meetings. And we also get to develop our own projects throughout the summer as well, which I'll talk a little bit about. So on the slide, I have things like us helping our wildlife biologist, Todd, who's in the audience, set up his spike net for fish surveys at the lagoon, leading games at the Bark Science Fair to discuss the impacts of marine debris on local wildlife, beach surveys to identify marine mammals for necropsies and further samplings, and many other things. I have a picture of us with the polar bear target that we used for gun training one day. There's a lot of things that us interns are involved in. And like I mentioned, we had the opportunity to develop our own marine debris mitigation project, which was inspired by local concerns regarding local plastic pollution and some findings of plastic conducted by wildlife veterinarian Dr. Rafaela Stimmelmeyer. And this project was also expanded upon by our previous outreach coordinator and received funding through the NOAA Marine Debris Mitigation Project to do educational outreach throughout the entire North Slope about marine debris and their impact on local wildlife, and how to decrease the amount of plastic pollution across our planet. And so that was my experience at Wildlife, and learning about this type of structure definitely inspired me to continue my education and to pursue my master's in marine affairs. So, next slide. So yeah, I think altogether, Iḻisaġvik and wildlife management through this structure, like I mentioned, with research, co-management, having avenues for local Indigenous people to not only be involved in, but to actively shape research and policy goals in the region is very unique, and plays a huge role in protecting and promoting food sovereignty and healthy communities that are resilient going into the future. And that's definitely something that I'm always going to keep research and policy exist, and that it works very well up here. And this fall, I'll be getting my master's in marine affairs to working under my mentor to investigate the role of tribal entities in creating climate mitigation strategies. Yeah.
Right, give up. Oh my goodness. Oh, that was so good. So I already went over my dual credit experience over at Iḻisaġvik, but I really wanted to emphasize something that I had to mention in my introduction. So in that picture, this was taken up at the creek where my brother and I go camping at, and I'm holding a really big sulukbawak or Arctic grayling, and I just wanted to say that I am involved in wildlife biology and interactions with humans, how they interact with wildlife, because of my love for being outside at the cabin and learning more from my brother and my dad. So I think having this personal touch in my presentation really, I don't know, it puts some kind of heart to it. Like, I'm here for this, and I wanted to emphasize that in my slides. So I hope that you see my love for being outside and just learning more and wanting to uplift our Indigenous people's voices in policy making and research. So that's just something I wanted to add. You can go to the next slide. So my life has been kind of crazy. I do all sorts of things, like ask anybody that knows me. I'm always doing something else. But because of my love for being out on the land and fishing, I wanted a degree in wildlife biology. So that's what I did. I graduated in May 2021 with a Bachelor's of Science in Wildlife Biology. But my life hasn't been so, I guess, defined in a way where I know what I wanted to do with my life. So I applied for all sorts of internships. In 2017, I applied to be Inuit Circumpolar Council intern. I learned about co-management, Inuit self-governance, and policymaking in our Inuit communities. And in 2019, I was a summer intern for Haskell Indian Nations University, where I learned different Indigenous research methods that happen across the United States. And then my most favorite internship ever is being an intern at the Northville Borough Department of Wildlife Management since 2018. And my experiences during my undergrad, they have been so empowering for me because they have really shaped what I wanted to do with my life. And being able to express my love for nature and hunting and being able to apply it to research, something that's been so empowering to me. And that's what keeps me going. So that's just, I love everything that I've done so far because it's just shaped who I am, and it keeps me wanting to learn more, especially with other Arctic reach or like other places in the Arctic because we are so similar. And I'm excited to keep, I guess, learning more about co-management and everything else that Northville Borough focuses on. So I'm happy that you keep inviting me back because I learned so much from you all. And then I am a graduate student at UAF. I am a Tamunta Fellow, which is a fellowship program at UAF that bridges Western sciences and Indigenous sciences together. And that's just to help build relationships between our policymakers, researchers, and our Indigenous people. And I am in the interdisciplinary studies program. And I know Roberta is here in the audience. I work with her on an AOK, and working with Roberta has been, she's like my role model. So I really, you can go to the next slide. And here is my thesis. I'm going into my second year of graduate school, and Billy Adams, who's here in the audience, he's a part of my graduate school committee, and he's been offering me so many awesome guidance, and I look up to him, and he's just, you got to talk to Billy. He's just so awesome. But from my experience at the wildlife department, it's really shaped what I wanted to do for my thesis. Like, I learned so much from Billy, from Nicole, from Tugalik, and having them invite us interns to these co-management meetings, getting us involved in research. It's really shaped what I wanted, what my thesis wanted to be, how I can contribute back to our communities. So my thesis, I have 2 bullet points. My first one is to determine the seasonal changes in Iḷisaġvik hunter and whaler from observational data from the Alaska Arctic Observatory and Knowledge Hub. And I also do a lot of youth engagement work in the lower 48 and here. So I wanted to incorporate a strategy within our Alaska Native organizations because there's a lack of youth representation within policymaking. But my overarching goal for both of them is to our Indigenous people.
Woohoo! I just feel it. You could feel her passion. You could feel all of our students' passion and their excitement, their favorite bacteria, their studies. It's just so great. Another one shared when we were talking about a different topic, but similar is the Inuwa, and he explained it. Rex Okakuk Sr. is you don't. It's hard to describe, but you feel it inside of you. And today I could just feel it amongst our students and their passion for the science field. And I heard briefly with wanting to have those cultural experts and to have the indigenous perspectives involved when it comes to science. And so happy for our students, and keep making us proud and keep doing what you're doing so you can come back home and be the next generation of leaders here. So I know we have Emily here, and if you could share a few things about your current internship that you're doing with Dr. Linda.
Yeah, I think my journey was definitely no walk in the park for me. I came up here from Florida searching for opportunities. Florida is a really, really hard place to live if you've ever lived in poverty in the lower 48. And I moved up here by myself. I don't have any family up here. So that was a really hard for me. So I really struggled finding work as an outsider. You know, people didn't really know me. They kind of just judged me based on what I looked like, except for Linda Nicholas Figueroa. She really gave me an opportunity at Iḻisaġvik and took me under her wing as an intern and saw me just struggling and gave me an opportunity and a job and a passion. And she really helped hone that passion of mine. And now I'm able to research, and I'm able to really work the tundra and opportunities that I never would have gotten a chance to do before. I've also gotten 2 or 3 BLAST grants myself for the school. So working with UAF to get grants for Iḻisaġvik, and I'm actually piggybacking off of work with the microbiology and doing cultures as well. Unfortunately, I didn't get as far as to be able to present my information since it's just me working on this for the past 2 years. It's just been me in the lab, and a lot of the time I just work by myself. But I'm just piggybacking off of that, and I hope to be able to present my information one day. And my internship is ending, so if anybody has any research projects, I'd be more than happy to help you out. All right, thank you.
Thank you. We have about 8 more minutes left. We could open it up if there's any questions, or we'll pause right here if there's any questions from the audience. Well, I have a question for Linda. And my question is, given your time at Iḻisaġvik spanning over a decade, what are you most proud about with the science offerings and opportunities to our students, and as well as just in the realm of the Arctic slope and the work you've done?
Well, it was really hard to narrow it down. For me, it's just all about the student. For students, giving them an opportunity, even if they don't go into research, you know, it's still an educational experience. One student in particular, Samantha Wade, in one of the photos, she's from Wainwright. She came to my first STEM camp in 2011 as a 7th grader. And then she went to my climate change camp the very next year as an 8th grader. Opportunity to go to SACNAS that same year, which is the Society for the Advancement of Chicanos and Native Americans in Science, as an 8th grader. She went on to Mount Edgecombe for high school, but then she came back in summer to work in my lab. I went on to UAF, also worked on microbiology projects as well. But she has just been accepted into medical school, and she could connect health and climate change because everything's connected. So she's hoping that that she could pick up some project that relates to two. But more importantly, she's coming back home after she gets her degree. She wants to serve her community. So there's, I just wanted to highlight her just because I've known her forever. And she's done such wonderful things. And our allied health program is really big at the college. And again, you can always relate health to the Arctic and what changes are going on. I think that's all I want to say. So, right. Thank you.
Never?
Yes. I have to ask Kimberly a question. I don't know if people realize it, but that's like the largest Arctic grayling. Iñupiaq name is Suluk I've ever seen. In a lot of years of research doing fish work, where was that taken? Where did you? Okay, sorry, I stepped through. That's the wrong question. Anyway, that was very impressive. Secret fishing holes.
Oh, my dad always said we were going to the fishing hole because he never wanted us kids to tell. I can't hear me. I who came up and she lived in poverty and found her place. And I heard your just kindred spirits.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
How did you choose your favorite?
Like my favorite bacteria. So Mycobacterium simulans, when we first like found it in our soil, we were trying to do research on like what was the most abundant and everything. Those graphs that we had with the top four, and because Mycobacterium was only found in the permafrost, that just really piqued my interest. And when I was trying to do more background research on it, there was only like two other papers that I could find that mentioned Mycobacterium simulans. So it is not a heavily researched microbe. And so that's why it's kind of my favorite, because not a lot of people have talked about it.
Any more questions? More questions? I don't, but I do have some comments to kind of close this before we go to the college. Just like to say what a inspiring way to kind of finish out the day of the first day of science talks. Just want to congratulate all of you. It was awesome listening to all of you. Really had a good time, and hope that you guys can inspire the next generation coming up through Iḻisaġvik. Hopefully you're able to, some of you were going to Iḻisaġvik for the tour as well as the barbecue. So hopefully you guys are able to meet with some of the students, and Tina and Linda, to try to formulate some more of those partnerships that obviously are the fruits of that are right here. So hopefully we're able to do more of that. So thank you all for that. Another round of applause, please, for the panel here. All right. I would also like to add that tomorrow we're doing breakout sessions for the different areas of research, and I think that we would all appreciate your input during those. So hopefully you're able to come and join some of the different breakout sessions where we're going to start to discuss what that next 25 years of science looks like. So hopefully you guys can come. I'm sure Tina will give you credit for attending that as well, right? So thank you guys again. And one more round of applause before we get them off stage here. And they also did help tremendously in our efforts to put this together. They're obviously on the banner. Iḻisaġvik was a big part of this, the overall success of this week. So I want to make sure and thank them for that. And when you guys meet with them and see them at the college, please shake their hands, say thank you. They're a big part of the planning efforts. Iḻisaġvik was in all of our meetings along with some other folks here. So couldn't we be here without their help. So